Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and today I'll be talking about how sleep, a moment in time where your body and brain is normally inactive, is actually one of the most important parts of your life and how we can improve it. Hi, my name is Peem Prasertsuntarasai, and today the reason why I'll be talking about this topic is I know that many of my friends and family sometimes miss out sleep because they think that they need to do things more important, such as check social media or play video games. But I'll tell you directly right now that you should not do this, as worse symptoms will occur. Firstly, as you may know, sleep is a very important part of our lives, as it takes a whopping 1/3 of it. But do we know what sleep is? According to the International Sleep Foundation, sleep is a moment in time where your body and brain is normally inactive. It's also a time where your body gets to rest, relax, and repair, which is extremely important as the short-term consequences are just simply having trouble concentrating, fatigue, and drowsiness. This is because during sleep, there's 4 types of sleep, not just one. Non-REM, the sleep we all know, is actually split into 3 categories. It's called non-REM 1, non-REM 2, and non-REM 3. The numbers just simply specify how unconscious you are. Being non-REM 1 is if you just fell asleep and you're very easily awoken, and non-REM 3 being if you've been asleep for a long period of time and you're usually hard to wake you up. However, the special sleep I want to talk about is called REM. REM stands for rapid eye movement, and yes, I know that might sound disgusting as how your eyes do move rapidly during sleep, but it's also extremely important as this is a sleep where you experience dreams and past memories. Scientists have used CT scans to figure out how active your brain is. And it turns out that during REM sleep, believe it or not, your brain's actually working harder than it is when you're awake. This makes sleep more important. When most of us experience short-term symptoms of sleep deprivation, what we normally do, and the right thing to do, is just fall back asleep again. But if we continue to stay awake for any reason, worse symptoms occur. Alzheimer's, depression, obesity, and diabetes are all related to sleep deprivation. For example, a chemical in the brain is called amyloid beta, and it's responsible for basically causing 2 severe brain symptoms: Alzheimer's and dementia. Luckily, your brain cleans this chemical out during sleep. Therefore, the less sleep you have, the more time this chemical has to basically wreak havoc in your brain, crippling it. During sleep, also, your brain produces hormones that make you feel full or not want to eat anything. Therefore, the less sleep you have, the more time this chemical your brain has to basically make you feel full. Therefore, you keep eating until you start to notice that you're gaining weight, and you might experience some other symptoms such as high blood pressure and obesity. The interesting, in my opinion, is that when I did some research about this speech, is that in 90% of all people who have depression, they have some sort of sleep deprivation disorder. Which is extremely interesting, as not 50, not 70, but 90. Scientists do not know the exact reason why this is possible, but they believe it's because if you basically wake up pretty early and sleep pretty late, you probably feel kind of sluggish or not want to do anything because you don't have the energy to. And if you do this and go outside and go to work normally like you do, you might experience some negative comments because you're kind of sluggish. And this happens again and again and again and again. You end up that you might feel so worthless that you just give up on life. As you can see, these are all very concerning symptoms. That's only if you sleep late a lot of times. However, a normal adult sleep is about 8 hours and a child's about 10. So I recommend you to stay about that amount of sleep. Now, enough of the factual stuff. As you can see, these are very concerning symptoms. But now you might be thinking right now that I try to sleep, but I can't. Well, you're in luck. Now, I will tell you ways I use personally and things that I've learned to avoid to help me sleep. As you probably have learned, breathing and meditation obviously help you sleep. Scientists have found this out because the brain relates long, deep breaths to calm moments. An easy way to practice to sleep is the 4-7-8 method. All you have to do is inhale for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 7, and exhale for 8. To demonstrate how easy it is, I'll present to you live, and I invite you to join with it. This kind of basically telling you how long I've been inhaling, holding, or exhaling for. So here we go. If you do this method 10 or 20 times after sleep, I can guarantee you will have a nice relaxed sleep and benefit more from it. The next thing I'll talk about is more psychological effect. So I recommend you to buckle up and I'll try to explain it as simply as possible. This effect can be complicated. So here we go. Let's just say that you're in bed and you're completely wide awake. Your brain is actually working all the time and will relate you being in bed with the fact that you cannot sleep. Therefore, when you go to bed, you will completely wide awake, and I can guarantee you that you might take from minutes to hours to fall asleep. I can confirm this kind of psychological effect is true because of the fact that when I was 3 or 5, I would take naps in my dad's car. Now, as a healthy 12-year-old, I don't need naps anymore, but every time I go to the backseat of my dad's car, I always feel drowsy or sleepy in my dad's car because my brain accepted that as a place to fall asleep in. Probably have learned that you should avoid caffeine or sugar before sleep. This is because caffeine literally acts as a wall for the sleep hormones to go to the rest of your body. And the WHO and many other health organizations have recommended you to actually not take this caffeine or, like, for example, tea or coffee after 2 p.m. because it might basically disrupt your sleeping time. Also, sugar makes you hyperactive, as commonly known as a sugar rush, and will make you hyper and unable to fall asleep. For those adults out there who sometimes use alcohol or sleeping pills to fall asleep, I want to tell you directly right now that you should not do this, as alcohol sleeping pills do not put you in a state of unconsciousness. A state of sleep, sorry. But in a state of unconsciousness, which is not the exact same as sleep, and can actually be pretty harmful if you continue to take sleeping pills regularly. So the moral of the story is that do not take sleeping pills or alcohol to fall asleep unless you really need to. From my own experience, if you avoid any terrifying thoughts, avoid sugar or caffeine before sleep, and practice the breathing method I told you, I can guarantee you have a nice relaxed sleep and benefit more from it. But after all I said, it's your turn. Shall we sleep or not? Thank you so much for listening.